Since ancient times, it has been believed that outstanding talent is primarily heredity, a whim of nature. When we are told that Mozart gave his first concert at the age of 3, or that John Stuart Mill read classical literature in Latin at the same age, most people simply react, "Of course, they are geniuses." However, a detailed analysis of the early lives of both Mozart and Milne suggests that they were strictly raised by fathers who wanted to make their children outstanding. I assume that neither Mozart nor Milne were born geniuses. Their talent developed to its maximum due to the fact that favorable conditions were created for them from early childhood and they were given an excellent education. This is how the world-famous work on child psychology by the outstanding Japanese teacher Masaru Ibuki begins. From his work, Kindergarten is Too Late. In his foreword to this book, the American director of the Institute for the Development of Human Potential, Glenn Doman, wrote, "I think that this book is one of the most important books ever written, and I think that all parents living on earth should read it, and this is the absolute truth." After reading this work, most likely you will begin to understand your baby much better, even if he cannot speak, and you will be able to avoid many mistakes. We decided to introduce you to some quotes that we think reveal the essence of Masaru Ibuki's idea. Education and the environment in which the baby finds itself immediately after birth determines whether he will become a man or a wolf. If we consider the importance of child's development, we should keep in mind that kindergarten is already too late. Studies of brain psychology on the one hand and child psychology on the other have shown that the key to the development of a child's mental abilities is his personal experience of cognition in the first 3 years of life, that is, during the development of brain cells. No child is born a genius, and no child is born a fool. It all depends on the stimulation and degree of brain development in the crucial years of a child's life. These are years from birth to the age of 3. It's too late to educate in kindergarten. Early development does not aim to educate geniuses. The only goal of early development is to give the child such as an education that he has a deep mind and a healthy body to make him smart and kind. All people, if they do not have physical disabilities, are born approximately the same. Responsibility for the division of children into smart and stupid, downtrodden and aggressive falls on education. Any child, if he is given what he needs and when he needs it, will grow up smart and with a firm character. From my point of view, the main goal of early development is to prevent the appearance of unhappy children. The child is given to listen to good music and is taught to play the violin not in order to grow out of him an outstanding musician. He is taught a foreign language not in order to educate a brilliant linguist, and not even in order to prepare him for a good kindergarten and elementary school. The main thing is to develop in the child his limitless potential so that there is more joy in his life and in the world. The main thing in child's development we should keep in mind is brain structures are formed by the age of 3. Already in the first 6 months after birth, the brain reaches 50% of its adult potential, and by the age of 3, 80%. Of course, this does not mean that the child's brain stops developing after 3 years. The fundamental ability of the brain to receive a signal from the outside, create its image, and remember, it's the basis, the very computer on which all the further intellectual development of the child rests. Mature abilities such as thinking, needs, creativity, feelings develop after 3 years, but they use the base formed by this age. It's better not to leave the child by himself because it is big mistake. Even today, many psychologists, educators, and parents believe that the conscious education of a young child is wrong. They believe that an excess of information negatively affects the child's nervous system, and it is more natural to leave him to himself and allow him to do whatever he wants. And the same parents, when their children go to kindergarten or school, immediately abandon this principle and suddenly become strict, trying to educate and teach their children something. Meanwhile, everything can be done differently. It is in the first years of a child's life that it is necessary to be with him more often and unobstructively and gently, offer various classes, and when he begins to develop and grow up, you need to gradually learn to respect his will, his I. To be more precise, parental influence should stop before kindergarten. Laissez-faire at an early age and then pressure on the child at a later age can only ruin his talent and cause resistance. So, what can a small child do? The child is endowed with a remarkable ability to recognize objects by images, which has nothing to do with analysis. The child will learn this much later. A perfect example confirming this hypothesis is the ability of a baby to recognize the face of his mother. In child's early development period, it's better to show him different kinds of picture and name them so he will remember the new word with the picture object. Even a 5-month-old baby can appreciate Bach. A study was conducted on what kind of music children like. The results were unexpected. The most exciting music for kids turned out to be Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, and in the very last place were children's songs. Babies found classical music the most interesting, which we adults often keep at a sufficient distance from them. Our children endowed from birth with the musical taste necessary to appreciate a complex symphony. What do you think? A 6-month-old baby can even swim. A child who has not yet started walking tries to stay on the water in the same way as he tries to crawl on the ground. And the important thing is not that a small child can swim, but that he swims because he's a child. Swimming is only one way to develop a child's abilities. It improves sleep, promotes appetite, sharpens reflexes, and strengthens muscles. The ability to absorb information in a child's brain is much higher than in an adult. Just do not be afraid to overfeed or overexcite him. A child's brain, like a sponge, quickly absorbs knowledge, but when it feels full, it turns off and stops perceiving new information. We should be concerned not that we give the child too much information, but that it is often too little to fully develop the child.